discover that we were deceived. You will find that this was the biggest lie to Libyans in our history.
As well as all these observations from the Gaddafis, Libyan TV has been showing other pictures aimed at putting the fear into the opposition. It isn't clear whether these men are alive or dead, though at least one is still moving. There was a message as well: give all your weapons in and we won't harm you. It's unlikely to be believed by the protesters. It's hardly surprising the government wants the opposition to agree to a weapons amnesty. These images from Misrata in the west, said to be the scene of new fighting after falling to the opposition, suggest the uprising has as many heavy weapons as the army. During his latest address, Gaddafi offered the opinion that Libya's tribal leaders, some of whom have been meeting in Al-Baida, should be taking more responsibility for local government and controlling their young people, though here they said they were more interested in the United Nations coming to save them. Gaddafi said he himself had become more of a symbolic leader of Libya.
As the Arab proverb says, if you carry a leaking water bag, it will make your back wet, and it is your responsibility. It is none of my concern anymore.
This was an address different in tone and content to his speech of Tuesday night. Wishful thinkers might hope it sounded almost valedictory. Or perhaps in arguing that he isn't really leader and therefore isn't in charge, it was simply a denial of responsibility.
May peace be on Zawiya and its people.
Lawrence Lee, Al Jazeera.
Well, we have a correspondent who's made it into eastern Libya for her own safety. We're not naming her or telling you where exactly she is calling from, but she joins us now on the phone. Tell us what you can see around you and what's the mood in the east of the country?
I would say there's a mood of defiance. This part of the country, about 600 kilometers along the Mediterranean coast, have been quite peaceful, I would say, for the past few days. But still, people are going down to the streets to protest. They still are calling for the fall of the regime. They're still really calling for a change of basically what they see as 42 years of a rule that didn't bring them much. Most of the people protesting are young people who say that they're jobless despite the fact that they went to universities and had a good education. They say they can't find housing, and they say that they blame all this on Muammar Gaddafi. So now they say that this part of the country, eastern Libya, which they call liberated Eastern Libya, would not go under the rule of Tripoli unless he is removed.
Well, he, in his address, said that the only people on the streets are the unemployed, drugged out young people, and there are no family men, there are no workers out there because they all know they have a good life under Gaddafi. And even his son came out and said the world will soon know the complete sham that everything that we have been saying is. He's blaming Al Jazeera in particular, it would seem. From what you've seen, does he have a point, or are there people from all walks of life on the streets?
Well, he might have a point in some of the youth that are on the streets are unemployed, but that's exactly what they're protesting against. Now, however, I didn't see any evidence of anyone who could be drugged. I also know that his comments about this protest being instigated by Al-Qaeda, or that people here do support Al-Qaeda, has angered has angered absolutely everyone, I would say. Whoever we met made a point to immediately insist on the fact that no one is demanding for an Islamic state or caliphate, that there are no links to Al-Qaeda, that this is really a youth revolt or youth revolution, as they call it, and that it's about really getting freedom and basic rights. So it is a statement that has angered many people here, especially in Derna, because he has mentioned that town several times in his speech on the 22nd of February, and they have been going out and about trying to speak to the media and trying to make sure that the media does understand that this is not about Al-Qaeda, or this is not about forming an Islamic state.
Well, as Lawrence Lee reported just a moment ago, they've also been broadcasting on state television pictures of people who have been arrested and threats of more action to come. Are these having any impact where you are? Do you think it's helping to take the steam out of some of the protests, or are people ignoring this?
I think I would say people are ignoring it. One has to realize that life is at a standstill here in the East. I mean, the shops are closed, no businesses are running, very few people on the streets except those protesting. So certainly there is still a sense of anxiety. Some people would tell you that they do expect a counter-offensive by the Gaddafi forces. However, there's also an air of defiance. People say that the fear factor has been broken. That now people are going to go for it. This area has been liberated, as they say, and this time there is no going back. They say they will not stop short from the fall of the regime. They say it's too late for dialogue, and parallelly, they're already trying to find ways of bringing back life to the, bringing back civilian rule. Some tribal leaders are meeting to try to write a new constitution. They are backed by the deserters from the army, from the air forces, from the police forces. So they say that they are making sure that cities in this area remain completely clear of infiltrators. They do also keep on communicating among each other all the time, trying to figure out if they see or there's news of a stranger in the area, that he immediately gets I would say arrested or detained and questioned, and if he's innocent, he gets released.
All right, thank you very much indeed. Our correspondent in the east of Libya reporting on the latest from that part of the country. Now, as we've been telling you, a number of high-profile military officers, diplomats, members of the regime have been defecting in a continuous stream. We've just received this latest video, which documents the switch in allegiance from several Libyan security chiefs who say they will back the protesters, the Libyan people, all the way.
Gaddafi invited that a delegation of senior officials from Tripoli and eastern region to negotiate, but there is no negotiation or resolution until this tyrant and his family leave the country. They do not have the authority to realise our demands.
Many officers have declared their allegiance to the people. They have joined the rebelling people out of patriotism and respect to those who have fallen. Here are their names.
Well, the first person you saw there was Libya's former justice minister who has resigned. The second person, one of the security chiefs, who went on to name 5 brigadiers, which is the second highest level of seniority in the police force, who've also walked away. They include the head of the criminal investigations in Tripoli and the judicial police and 3 regional security chiefs. Meanwhile, in Benghazi, officers from the Bayan air base there have also sent us a video, this explaining why they have now turned to support the protesters.
I, Colonel Pilot Hussein Watfali, commander of Helicopter Squadron at Benin Air Base, announce in this solemn moment that we are joining the revolution, joining the rebelling people of February 17th. The majority of personnel in the base, including officers, commissioned officers and enlisted conscripts, are joined by civilians inside the base. We will die defending our country, the homeland Libya. Long live the revolution. Long live the February 17th youth. Long live